And so we're always talking about him because essentially what it means is we have life everlasting because of Christ. And so we don't really have things to worry about like a lot of people. We believe that our life has more meaning and value because of Christ.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we
yeah.
also don't care as much to fight over things like resources. We don't care as much to fight over things like in petty ways. We don't care as much to, defend our clan against attacks as much, turn the other cheek, all of that. And the Crusades could have happened a lot earlier, but they didn't because people just kept um, letting go all these attacks that came from the Middle East.
Mm.
And, people could no longer go to the Holy Land. People were being attacked and raped and killed by Islam. And eventually, the Pope had to stand up and be like, hey, what's wrong with you people? These pilgrimages can't happen. And then there's this other problem and this other problem, and trade is suffering and all of this. And so we have to do something about this. And so as opposed to giving them some sort of national identity to say, hey, you should protect your people and protect your ethnicity. No, instead he appealed to their religious sense and say, because that's what people most identified through, that was their culture, is to say, you'll be rewarded if you fight for Christendom, and I will make sure that you get rewarded for this, maybe in heaven or something. But also, we'll be able to accomplish many religious goals through this. You can go to the Holy Land safely, etc.
Mm.
But it was also just to make them aware through their hearts as Christians that people are suffering. And we need to do something about it. We can't just let people continue to, trounce all over us.
Mm.
So, you know, um, a just war theory was also reiterated, um, and the idea that there's a misunderstanding of what turn the other cheek maybe might have meant to the Christian communities. Like
Mm.
maybe you should protect your neighbors. Maybe that's what loving your neighbor really is protecting your neighbor.
Mm.
Um, and so this is a similar issue we have today, right? With the border, the southern border. There's Christians right now who say we should be giving, we should turn the other cheek, we should continue to let them come in our nation, and we shouldn't have retribution against them, and we feel mercy against them.
Mm.
And so even while people are being raped and murdered and killed and our lands are being attacked, it depends on how you look at it, right? If you look at it a certain way, you're thinking, well, these are immigrants and they need help, and we're going to be compassionate towards them, and we're going to turn the other cheek. And then some other people would say, look, I was there. Like you're telling me that this is compassion, but actually people were harmed and killed and
Mm.
property was taken. And how can we justify that? So we're partially to blame then for these crimes happening and this sin happening if we do nothing about it. And so there's this sense of like responsibility that has to be given to communities, and you have to appeal to their sense of something, their sense of duty, or their sense of loving compassion for their neighbor or something. And this is often what solidifies societies and cultures and turns them into nations, powerful nations. And so, there's a place where it can go too far, right? Like hating the Polish people, so you can turn the
Yeah.
nation. And
Yeah.
there's another place that's um, maybe not so bad because maybe the Polish people are murdering people, and you have to defend your villages from the Polish people. I don't know. It depends on the scenario. So there has to be, I think, an understanding of what justice is really about. And So just war theory kind of comes from that idea. But as it comes to culture, I think sometimes it's a backlash against some threat against you. Yeah, I guess. But really, I think the definition for it, that it's a voluntary agreement between people in peace, right? That um, that's about a discussion about values. I think that's, for me at least, that's a very satisfying definition. I think anything else, if it's based in hatred or it's based in war, I don't really consider that culture. Like, I think of that as, it's kind of like you're a person, but you're a person with cancer, like you're a person that has a disease. And
Mm.
so I don't think of that as healthy. I think of that as very unhealthy. If it is culture, it's a dying culture. So it's kind of like what empire is to a nation, right? A nation eventually becomes some kind of empire that's attacking and destroying and killing other people. And then the only reason it survives is because it can attack enough enemies. And so it's like it's got this cancer it's suffering from. And
Mhm.
eventually it's going to kill itself in all of those bad behaviors. So similarly to Germany, right? I mean, it basically killed itself. Um, you know, why does a nationalistic nation have the need to attack other nations? Like that those two things shouldn't have to belong together.
Yeah.
But but often it does. Often it becomes this metastasized thing that has to attack somebody else, like Hollywood attacking people for not liking their movies. It's like it's metastasized into this thing that has to attack someone that doesn't like them. Like um, live and let live, right? I think that's really a stronger culture that
Mm.
can live and let live.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of culture we want to create.